In this video, I'd like to talk about the mistakes that I made when I was younger, when I was training. Now, I was never going to be a world-class player. I did not start playing squash until I was about 15 or 16, which is too late to become a professional, and I never even took it seriously until I got to about 21, 22. And of course, by then that's too late. But I did make some mistakes, and I could have maximized my potential if I'd have worked in a different way. So this video is aimed more at younger players who have ambition, but it's also relevant for everybody else because you can make a difference by changing your training immediately. So, let's see what happens. I'm going to talk about those things and maybe they'll be useful for you. Number one, I only played. I thought that was the best way. I did a little bit of running and I did a little bit of solo practice. I did almost no drills with anybody else. I did no strength training. I did no flexibility training. I just played as much as I could. Now, I was playing a lot of really good players. In case you don't know, I was lucky enough to be the professional at Wembley Squash Centre, and when I was there, I managed to practice with Jahangir Khan quite a few times. We went out training together in the park. I managed to practice with lots of other professionals who came to visit Jahangir. So I practiced with a lot of fantastic, incredible players. But that's all I did. And I didn't do anything else. And you would say, but that's all you need. But it's not. It's not all you need. It's one of the things you need, but it's not all you need. And that was a huge mistake, thinking that all I need to do is play. And I can't remember when, but the Squash Rackets Association, the SRA in England, had this slogan: don't play squash to get fit to play squash. And it's the change of mentality. In Spain, we talk about changing the chip or even the switch. Sport is fantastic, but you have to do more to improve your sport. Just playing sport, okay, that's fun. But if you really want to improve, you have to do more. And I didn't. And that was a huge mistake. And it took me many years to realise that. Hopefully, it's now just taken you 30 seconds to realise that you shouldn't just be playing squash. You should be training in different ways for it. The second mistake was not realising how important heating up and cooling down was. Now, you might say, yeah, but there's many other things to do and I'm running a little bit late. But honestly, it's the case of getting to the court at the right time if you can. And if you can't, then you still do your heat up properly. Even if you miss 10 minutes of your match time or your warm up or whatever, it's better to do those things properly. And whilst they are a physical thing, it's a mental thing as well. That time that you're heating up, and I've made videos about how to do that properly, is a preparation time, a mental preparation time, so that when you get on the court, you are 100% focused on what you're doing. Because if you don't, then you're wasting your time in the first game. And how often have I heard people say, I'll use the first game to warm up? As a coach, that is just so annoying. And that's the kind of mentality that I had. And I never took it seriously. And I just said, okay, yeah, I don't need to. I'm too fit. I was playing mostly older players in club team matches. I'm too fit for this. I'm just going to, warm up in the first game. And it was a mistake because it's a mentality of taking things seriously. And then cooling down afterwards is making sure that you avoid any injuries and that you feel better and you can train harder the next day. And that's another point, that if it's just training, you still need to heat up properly because then you can train harder for longer. And the harder and longer you train for, the more benefit you get, within reason. And then if you cool down properly, you can do that process for longer. You can do it for more days before you have to say, no, I need to take a rest now. So heating up and cooling down might seem a very small thing, but it really does make a difference when you put it all together in your training. Number 3, as I mentioned in number 1, I did no other training, but specifically I didn't do any flexibility and I didn't do any strength work. And those two things are incredibly important. Playing gives you a lot of aerobic capacity. Yeah, it works your legs and it works your back and your core. And yeah, you do get a little bit stronger from playing. There's no doubt about that. But if you didn't do any extra aerobic work and you only played, I wouldn't be too unhappy with that. But as far as flexibility is concerned, you need to do separate sessions. Stretching before playing, stretching after playing is not, I repeat, not flexibility. That is preparing for the match and cooling down. You need to do separate sessions, and that means heating up for a little bit, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, just maybe jumping on the spot, doing some skipping, very light ghosting. When your body's warm, then you do some stretching. When you're tired, you're not stretching your body, and it's dangerous to do that because you might get injured. You need to do separate flexibility sessions. If you're serious, remember, this is not for just the person, this video is not just for the person who just wants to play once a week. This is for a person who really wants to maximize their potential. And the second thing was the strength. You see videos now of Paul Cole, doing his lifts and stuff. Being strong is incredibly important. You've got to do the right strength work, and you should go and see somebody, a specific trainer, to show you what you should be doing so you don't injure yourself, you don't work too hard, you don't work on the wrong things. But being strong, not big, strong is incredibly important. And I didn't do any of those. And that's another wasted opportunity, because there was time during the day when I could have done them. Strength sessions don't have to be 1 hour long. They can be 20 minutes. You're working on the right things. You can do a lot of things with your legs in 20 minutes to strengthen them. And core work, didn't do any of those kind of things. Not consistently anyway. Big mistake. Flexibility and strength, very underrated by non-professional players. Number 3. I only did the things that I like doing. Now, we only get one life and we shouldn't be doing things that we hate doing. But I'm talking, when I did go on court, I used to do probably millions, of figure of eights, because they were impressive and there were lots of people looking on the balcony. The boring shots up and down the wall, don't want to do those. Nobody's going to come and watch me. And I'm not saying that I only did things because I wanted people to watch me, but I did things that I liked doing, and I liked doing figure of eights, and I was quite good at them, so I did more of them. And the things that I didn't like doing so much, maybe drop shots or, serves, I didn't do. And that's an example when I'm doing solo practice, and it could be an example of when I was doing other types of training. I didn't really enjoy flexibility, so I didn't do it. I didn't enjoy strength work because I always had a problem when I used weights. My timing was off because I was doing the wrong kind of weights. So it doesn't just have to be, solo practice, which is the main one that I mentioned. It's a general thing as well, that if you only do the things that you like, that probably means you're not doing the things that you need. The things that you need are probably the things that you don't like. That's why you need them, because you don't do them. It's kind of like a circle, a vicious circle, that I need this, but I don't like doing it, so I do something else. So then I need it more because other parts of my game have increased and this particular part has stayed the same or even decreased. So it's like a circle. Well, I'm not going to do that because I really hate it. And okay, so you get the point. Do the things you need to do, not just the things you like to do. Not just on court, but out of court. Not many people like doing flexibility, but you need to do it, and it will help you prevent injuries. It will help you train harder for longer. It will help you improve. Do those things, please. Sit down with a piece of paper and say, what are the things I really enjoy doing? What are the things I don't enjoy doing? Do more of those things. Sorry. Improvement is not always about, nice things. It's about hard work and the things that need to be done. Number 5. When I was at Wembley Squash Centre, I was lucky enough to work with Ramat Khan. He allowed me to join some of those squad sessions, and that was great. But then a little bit later, I found a coach who was just a regular club coach. In fact, he was only a part-time. He was an administrator of a sports centre. He didn't do coaching very much. But we clicked. His work ethic was exactly what I was looking for. And I worked hard with him for 6 months, and my game just jumped. jumped, really made a huge improvement in 6 months. But then he moved away. And I said to myself, that's it. I'm not even going to bother anymore because this is the coach for me. I can't work with any other coach. I had an opportunity to move to Germany to coach, but no, because I can't find my other coach now. So if I stay in the UK, I might be able to find a way of working with him. And that was a huge mistake. And the mistake in a sentence is, don't think that there's only one coach who can help you. There might be a perfect coach for you, but probably not. There are probably lots of coaches that can help you. And it's more of a general thing. Don't think that there's just this one thing that will make you a much better player. This coach was perfect for me at that time. But once I reached a certain level or a particular style of playing, maybe another coach would have worked. And as a professional, you always have to say to yourself, is this the right coach for me? Is this the right physio? Is this the right mental sports psychologist for me? You have to keep changing your team if you think you can do better, if your circumstances change. Now, when I say do better, I don't mean that there's a better coach or a better sports psychologist, but a better for me at that time. And even as an amateur, you might say, this is working for me, but when it doesn't, you have to recognize that and say, okay, well, maybe I need to do something else. So it's not just about thinking about one coach, it's about the whole thing. Is this working for me? Yes. Fantastic. But if it changes, you just have to get on with it. And that was a weakness, a mental weakness on my part, that I'd become not addicted, but I'd become dependent on this coach, thinking that he was the only person who could improve me. And of course, that was complete rubbish. There were hundreds of other coaches that could have helped me improve. And if I'd have kept going, I could have perhaps made a lowly professional. But I said to myself, this is the only coach. And that was a huge mistake. And you mustn't fall into that trap. Especially if you're younger, you mustn't fall into the idea that only one thing can help you, only one person can help you, only one style of training can help you. No, you must be constantly questioning those things and constantly open to new ideas and new situations. All right, well, there were the 5 mistakes or 5 silly ideas that I had when I was younger, and I hope that they will help you, even if you're not like a teenage player with ambitions to be a professional. They can be used in all situations and all types of player. You can start today. You can change the way you train today, and it can make a huge difference. Yes, you will almost certainly not be a professional. But that doesn't matter. If you can get a little bit better, that's fine. I am now 55 years old, coming up to 56. There is no way I'm going to become a good player anymore. But if I can improve just a little bit, I'll be quite happy. That's all I want to do. Even as a coach, if I can do something that I can improve as a coach, I'll be quite happy. Constant desire to improve is an important mindset that you must have. So keep thinking, I will change something to improve. I haven't stopped improving. I've just slowed down. I need to take a different direction. As always, if you've got any questions about this video or anything to do with squash, please leave a comment and I will do my best to answer it as precisely and as quickly as possible. On the screen at the moment is a subscription button. If and only if you think my content is useful, please consider subscribing because it really does help my channel grow. There's a video that YouTube thinks will be really interesting for you based on what you've been watching, and a collection of other videos that I thought you might find interesting. And remember, do something every single day to improve your squash. See ya.